Lisa Kelly became the tough symbol she is today because of her life's many cold roads, perilous adventures, and horrific tragedies. As a truck driver who pioneered driving on hazardous snowy routes in Canada and Alaska, she won hearts on ice road truckers. She was well known for being a courageous truck driver. She has, however, experienced the difficulties that come with fame and has lost loved ones in tragic ways, just like many others. Curious? Then continue to observe. The girl who defied expectations. It was said that women couldn't survive on this route. Growing up on a farm in Alaska, Lisa Kelly remarked, "I can." She gradually developed an interest in driving that manner. Lisa demonstrated tenacity, talent, and diligence by driving massive oil field rigs with ease and winning motocross events. She immediately entered into the third season of Ice Road Truckers in 2009, which received a significant amount of views. Truckers and fans now know and respect Lisa much more as a result of her performance. As she steered a 100-foot pipe while racing from the icy Arctic Ocean to Prudhoe Bay, people were instantly enthralled by her tenacity and diligence. She made a statement and gained influence. Despite her bravery and drive, truckers viewed her as little more than attractive. Lisa persisted, though. She confronted skeptics and dismantled obstacles for women in the ice truck industry. Assuming the initiative. She was born into a loving family in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in the first few days of December 1980. 6 years later, that family relocated to Sterling, Alaska, and took up residence on a farm. Perhaps because of her time in the field, Lisa claimed to be a child. But Lisa wasn't truly a girl. She was amazing. She gained skills in skydiving, riding a motorcycle, riding a horse, and even hang gliding. It was not by accident that Lisa performed all of these things. All of them came readily to her. Lisa was once declared a state freestyle motocross champion, but she soon discovered that winning wasn't the only source of her excitement. The rush of adrenaline and speed was too powerful to ignore. Naturally, she had pushed it down. She tried studying and going to college because of the fire and the necessity of being on the highway, but it didn't work. After just one semester at Cornerstone University, Lisa left school and returned to Alaska. Before she remembered her first love, she delivered pizzas and worked at gas stations. Lisa immediately put forth a lot of effort and obtained her first business license to operate school buses. The fact that a superb truck driver began his career by transporting children is almost comical. After receiving her license, Lisa was hired for an entry-level position with Carroll Transportation. This was the beginning of her ascent to fame. Although she wasn't at her best in Carroll Transportation, she had to deal with open doubt in an environment where she was already quite active. However, this prepared her for the skepticism she would subsequently encounter from the directors of the History Channel. "No, I'm more than that, and I'm going to prove it," Lisa assured everyone after they informed her, "We chose you because you're pretty." She put a lot of effort into proving that she was superior to what other people believed of her. Lisa Kelly began her career on the Dalton Highway in 2009, making her the youngest and only female truck driver on the Alaskan highway. Lisa won hearts after successfully traversing 149 LED ice bridges back-to-back between Prudhoe Bay and Fairbanks. Lisa immediately became a popular among the over 3.5 million viewers of the show nationwide that year. They complimented her for her unfiltered toughness. She was a strong-willed woman, even on television. In 2022, Lisa told Overdrive that it was not simply her discipline that kept her going, but also her male and female supporters. Because she could inspire others to achieve their goals, she put in more effort at work. Looper wrote an article praising Lisa's courage. She was well known for being unique and for appearing on several seasons of A Dangerous Show. She did not merely participate. It earned her the respect of her fans. She transported massive oil rigs, large pipelines, and 100-foot loads over the steppe and along mountain rims on the red rails and ice bridges. Lisa's ability to manage that much weight distinguished her from inexperienced and new drivers. When reporters asked George Spears if this was the typical norm for new drivers, he immediately said, "You learn the road fast or you end up dead." She had changed from being a typical truck driver. For female drivers who aspired to work as truckers, she was the talk of the town. In contrast, Lisa experienced her first and only public criticism at that time. Even though her work had nothing to do with her personal life, internet trolls tracked Lisa's every move, quickly labeling her the dumb blonde. It started off like any other attack at a celebrity. Lisa acknowledged that some of these remarks were hurtful to her in a recent conversation. Her words, "Nothing in my life is private anymore." She ignored the ruckus and maintained the brakes on the trucks in place. "People don't realize you're a real person, not a TV character." They made crude remarks about Lisa, and her husband Travis begged her to forget about it, but she said, "Their comments can't be me. I'm not trying to be better than the boys. I just want to do my job." She should have received credit for her statement, but nothing was simple when a force was involved. Lisa's remark went viral and was heard all around the globe. Argument tables were set up in a Fairbanks diner to discuss what it means to be a woman who refuses to be restricted in online forums. By the end of Season 3 of Ice Road Truckers, Lisa had more than just admirers. She demonstrated on the driving range that her technique was commendable and that her toughness set her apart. However, we are all aware that every profession has its drawbacks, particularly those that are thrilling but also come with hidden expenses. Let's quickly review Lisa Kelly's tense periods of achievement. Random occurrences impacted Lisa's journey from novice to celebrity over the course of multiple seasons of Ice Road Truckers. As the story progressed, Lisa took risks that kept her going and added excitement. She had a peculiar appearance that made her appear to be just another driver. Lisa's big break. The success of Lisa's first Ice Road Trucker appearance in Season 3 paved the way for Seasons 4 and 5. In the new seasons, Lisa continued to carry heavier loads. Her ancestry extended all the way back to Canada. In Season 4, Lisa had taken on additional tasks, such as arranging supply trips to far locations in Manitoba and Ontario, such as Oxford House, Red Sucker Lake, and Victoria Beach. Lisa became a true beast in the trucking world in Season 5. Lisa became an excellent truck driver by putting a lot of effort into her profession. She was famous for using the Glen and George Parks routes to transport a large convoy from Anchorage to Fairbanks. Before she got on the Dalton Highway, she did all of these things. As one of the few truckers to survive that long on the ice road, Lisa is now in the Hall of Fame. She finally quit the show at the end of Season 12. The Canadian-American co-production of Ice Road, which ran from 2009 to 2017, commended Lisa's courage for taking the risk. Lisa thought that Alaska's challenges were no longer difficult since she didn't want to demonstrate her superiority. Thus, she traveled on the most hazardous roads for Ice Road Truckers to the Himalayas. By the time of the first season, which aired in 2010, Lisa had mastered the narrow mountain routes in India. History was told when Lisa was traveling. Lisa was the only person from North America to complete the journey, despite being told she wouldn't. Lisa then turned to face the famous Death Road in the Andes, as though that would improve her even more. People stopped before they even reached the Andes because they believed the roads were so treacherous. Near misses. When people throughout the world considered the Andes expedition, they were all on edge. We believed Lisa Kelly was gone forever when her truck broke down on a Salt Lake crossing. Then, right before sub-zero night swallowed her, she got up and replaced a water line. Lisa was previously frightened. An ice truck driver's work isn't finished until they've been in a few accidents since the ice roads are harsh. In Season 3 of Ice Road Truckers, Lisa experienced her first significant fear on Oregon Pass. An enormous pipeline crashed on her as she was strolling at the cliff's edge. She slipped into a ditch to avoid a plow in Season 4, which was a new slide to be afraid of. As previously stated, driving a truck is an extremely thrilling and high-adrenaline job. However, people also need to recall instances in which fear was the driving force. There was nothing like that day on the icy roads or the movie Interview. In 2013, Lisa first admitted to having issues with loneliness and fatigue. It was inevitable. It was simple to be alone and serene during the long days in Fairbanks, but gradually the quiet became too loud to ignore. Lisa claimed that CDs and podcasts helped her reconnect with the outside world when she was feeling depressed. But podcasts aren't enough when your life is on the line. Lisa believed that returning to her familiar surroundings was the only viable option. When the silence became too much for Lisa, she would climb inside the truck for some alone time. However, she was frequently caught between having a special moment and appearing on TV. The stress of reality TV was another factor that made Lisa's job difficult. According to her, scenes must have arcs, turns, and vitality. Lisa claimed that she was occasionally instructed to intentionally make holes in the ice to give the impression that someone was about to fall, only to witness a real castmate fall in the same location. They frequently advised her to say things that weren't particularly Lisa because they claimed she was only there to appear beautiful. Because she wouldn't behave foolish in real life, Lisa faced a lot of issues. Her accomplishments eventually came at a cost. The trip to the Himalayas was uneventful. By season 5's conclusion, Lisa was well known. However, because Lisa had not appeared in season 6, speculations began to circulate when season 6 began in 2012. Lisa's admirers were certain she wouldn't return due to a fallout or a contract dispute, but producers claimed she resigned because she was exhausted from filming 2 shows at once. In a subsequent interview, Lisa clarified that merging the plans of Deadliest Roads and Ice Road Truckers had indeed grown hectic and insane. Her load numbers and screen time decreased somewhat in the later seasons of both shows. Even after shifting its focus to new people and themes, the reality show was still unable to fill in the blanks. Lisa turned to go. Lisa had her share of issues, but returning to television was made considerably more difficult by the untimely passing of her close friend Daryl Ward. For years, he had assisted her in moving items. She also struggled to cope with the loss of their time together without him. She had to cope with the pressures of celebrity, fear, strength, and fatigue in addition to the loss. These all resulted from Lisa's excellent work. She claimed that she occasionally felt trapped by the constant cameras on her. She felt as though some of her freedom had been stolen away by the people who were always watching her. But as long as they provided her with a means of assisting others, she could continue. Lisa believed that being a truck driver was more than simply thrilling, dangerous, and enjoyable. Trucking is like a family, she remarked. Being the lady in charge of hazardous ice roads put a lot of strain on her, but it also helped her feel less alone. She had overcome masculine prejudices, but sometimes she couldn't handle the thought that she represented all women in a cruel society. Moving away from the spotlight. When Lisa was absent from Ice Road Truckers' 6th season, which aired in 2012, fans were perplexed. She had appeared in 7 to 11 and 3 to 5. She was allegedly let go from the show. However, producer Tom Beers later clarified that she left because she didn't want to cope with the ongoing stress of filming Deadliest Roads and Ice Road Truckers, which she claimed had gotten frantic and crazy. However, the majority of people are unaware that she made the decision to leave at the same time as her business partner and close friend Daryl Ward passed away in a plane crash in 2016. His passing completely upended her world. For her, it was an emotional as well as a legal breach. Her return in season 7 of the program was much anticipated by fans, but she never materialized. The spark that had defined her began to flicker when she finally appeared on film, and her time on screen had diminished. She was getting worn out, and there was creative conflict behind the scenes, according to some, which is why she left the show. Lisa Kelly was more than simply a limited stereotype, and some in the industry believed that she and the producers disagreed about the way her tale was being told, particularly after she expressed her disapproval of being portrayed as eye candy. She reportedly refused to let the show's creators narrate her story, particularly when doing so diminished her talent and willpower. Nevertheless, she occasionally admitted to him that she had days when she was out of breath. She has alluded in interviews that she was experiencing increasing anxiety and fatigue as a result of continuous filming, being by herself, and felt under pressure to maintain a particular public image and standard, even if there hasn't been an official interview to corroborate the details. Her mental health began to deteriorate due to these stressors. Lisa opened up on how she has changed behind the TV screens due to the pressure of expectation. She described how waiting on desolate highways made her feel oppressively alone. She also claimed that, despite her passion of driving, the camera crews made her feel extremely constrained. Although she was open about her emotions, hardness is valued more highly than sensitivity in reality TV and the entertainment industry. Her commitment to the show eventually started to wane. Her enthusiasm for trucking diminished along with her commitment to the status quo. They didn't like people who tried to balance work and life because of the way the business was set up, especially for a prominent person. According to her, the low number of female truck drivers troubled her, but it wasn't surprising considering how little respect, support, and actual assistance women receive. That meant the camera could no longer use her. She instead discussed her issues, such as how much she missed her home, how stressful it was to always have a lot to do and strict schedules, and how life was different from being alone all the time and watching TV. In addition, she felt a great deal of burden from her loss. When Daryl Ward passed away in 2016, Lisa and the rest of the community were taken aback. In addition to being buddies, they worked long, hard hours together and co-founded a trucking firm. After he passed away, she grieved for some time. She claimed that the incident caused her to pause and reflect, and she didn't want the cameras to be on her while she was feeling so depressed. The sound of Lisa's voice echoing in empty taxis amid shattered ice was never captured on camera for years. Her personal issues conflicted with her public identity as Alaska's courageous driver. The fissures were visible, despite her best efforts to conceal them during the performance. Her admirers heard a voice of control rather than commercial glitz when she stated she would take a break because she was experiencing panic attacks and respiratory issues. People frequently asked her, "Why aren't you smiling more?" And she always responded, "Because the road is trying to kill me." Her absence from the camera conveyed to the world that she had finished performing and that the true significance of her life was too great for scripts. Even after all these years, Lisa is still perplexed. She discussed how TV offered her a platform in previous interviews, but she also expressed disapproval of how it reduced real people to 2D characters that were condensed for TV narratives. She claimed in a podcast interview that she liked driving since it allowed her to be independent and socialize with cool people. However, she felt even more isolated after the camera crews departed. She knew she would lose her celebrity when she left this world, but she couldn't jeopardize her soul or mental health. The quiet Lisa uttered was more audible than any static on the CB radio. Trucking must be a job you can do for a living, but it's tough to get women to do it without changes. She embarked on an introspective journey to discover who she was, heal, and figure out how to move on in a world that used to support her at every turn. A life on the brink. Away from the cameras and the reporters' lives, Lisa Kelly found refuge in her husband. Travis Kelly was her spouse. He was a motorcycle mechanic from Aleut, Alaska. For 4 years, Travis was her rock during her life and work orals. In Wasilla, Alaska, they led a modest existence caring for dogs and rescue horses, including 2 small horses named Rocky and Tansy. During these times, they enjoyed spending time together. Gypsy, Tennessee Walker, and My Little. Lisa went above and beyond to keep her private life off the spotlight, but I'm not riding him. On television, she was typically portrayed as a courageous and amiable individual. However, behind the scenes, she maintained her privacy and found solace in her home life because it was the only place she felt like herself outside of reality TV. As the face of female tenacity in a male-dominated sector, she felt the hard weight of expectation. She said that she felt bad about the attention she received, despite the fact that others thought she was tough. She claimed that when others wanted her to serve as an example, she frequently felt overpowered. She stated in an interview that, "There were days I couldn't breathe. I'm still a TV star," they mused to themselves, and it was true. It didn't help that she was harassed online either. Lisa frequently had to cope with trolls who ridiculed her abilities, appearance, and errors. She began to doubt herself and feel less important as a result. The creators were unaware of it. They found her attractive. As long as she continued to bring in the views, she would remain what she was. She started to struggle with her public role and representation since she was conflicted about how she was depicted and how grateful she was for her platform. She was successful in getting many women to work as truck drivers, but was the industry also taking advantage of her? After the show, there is life. When Ice Road Truckers ended in 2017, Lisa expected a respite from the show's stress, but instead she encountered more mayhem. A truck driver was unable to obtain a regular employment. Her sense of society and the identity she had developed vanished along with the light. In addition to finding time to resume her horseback riding, she did find solace in endorsements, such as when she starred in Chevron's Destination Further series. But the transition wasn't easy. She didn't feel as fulfilled by her normal job as she had by her previous TV-driven lifestyle. "I have a sleeping area and an entire tack room. This little pistol is merely a 3-horse. When asked what her favorite thing about driving a truck is, Lisa responded that it's my time. You know, just her and the road, listening to podcasts and music, and viewing the stars without the cameras." She stated, "Lisa's story shows how much America loves strong women, but it also shows how badly it fails to care for them." Even though Lisa frequently noted that the industry didn't care about the requirements of female truckers, there wasn't much assistance for women who wanted to obtain CDLs or pursue their aspirations. While many applauded her for having the courage to speak out against it, others questioned why a national celebrity would remain silent when there was no drama on television. In a 2013 interview, Lisa talked candidly about how trucking kept her grounded but also left her feeling lonely and exhausted. She claimed that the isolation that once calmed her had turned into a burden and that she was now forced to navigate the wide Alaskan highways while being acutely conscious of the compromises she had to make on a personal level. In addition to technical expertise, the ice roads required emotional fortitude. It was Lisa who said, "I hate the highways." "Really?" "Yeah." "Now, did you drive a lot of highway stuff before?" We can see that through her evolution, Lisa remains conflicted about her legacy. Reality TV gave her a platform and fans, but stripped bits of her spirit. This was seen later in her career. Lisa tried to reignite the fire that was once there and took new endeavors, such as launching a rescue program for horses and pets, attending women trucking events, and using her voice to advocate for mental health. Yet the personal cost lingered. "I do have spare time. According to one of her jokes, I've been really busy with these truck shows." After years of attempting to impress people, Lisa Kelly said that she was no longer trying to do so. However, that statement struck a deeper chord that most people were unable to notice. She still yearned for a tranquility that she had never given herself permission to experience. Roads were only one aspect of Lisa Kelly's voyage on thin ice. It was also a personal one. The former media personality and reality TV star is now a woman in search of equilibrium, battling her inner demons and navigating the real world away from cameras. You truly get to see the solution so many times. You declare it, you declare it. Headlights that fade. The booming motors that had echoed Lisa's fiery presence had become quieter by the time Ice Road Truckers concluded in 2017. Archie's final season on Ice Road Truckers was season 11, which also happened to be Lisa's final TV appearance. After that, she discreetly quit the reality program, but she continued to appear at truck shows and fan gatherings. Her semi-retirement from television was highlighted by her return as a voiceover narrator for Alaskan road truckers, yet her fans still loved her. Longtime admirers waited in line at trade events in England, Scotland, and Ireland to share how Lisa personally influenced them. Many online threads asking, "Where is Lisa and what happened to the Queen of the Ice Roads?" were sparked by Lisa's disappearance from public life. Some speculated that she was withdrawing due to health issues or that producers were phasing her out, while others believed she was coping with mental exhaustion or a personal tragedy. Lisa led a peaceful existence in Wasilla, Alaska, but when she wasn't on TV or in movies, her fans were anxious and frightened. After she quit acting, she changed her focus and went back to her childhood love of horses. She and Travis gained knowledge about animal rescue and breeding. By doing this, they were able to extend their ranch in Alaska to include a small herd and other rescued animals. She frequently hosts clinics and visits ranches, as seen by the latest event at which she honored her empathy for gypsy horses. She even dabbled in hauling for a short while, but her priorities stayed the same: tributes, roaring support, and the health of horses and animals. Fans' love for Lisa hasn't diminished despite her less frequent appearance on TV screens. Online users have showered her with tributes and discussions since her retirement, referring to her as a trailblazer and a true beacon for women in trucking. She has been acknowledged by many with advancing the female trucking profession and rescuing them from difficult times. One of her biggest admirers said they were saved by watching Lisa overcome a dangerous bill on screen. Even her former co-stars and producers frequently thank her on Twitter, pointing out that her honesty and fortitude established a benchmark for reality TV stars. Discussions concerning mental health in trucking have taken place since Lisa's passing. The characteristics that characterized Lisa's journey are echoed by trucking charities today, which emphasize stress, loneliness, and burnout. Lisa doesn't look for attention, but her life experiences speak for themselves, and as a result, conferences and organizations are advocating for improved mental health facilities, particularly for women who encounter particular physical and mental strains while traveling. Had the ice roads taken more from her than she could ever show? Many of Lisa's admirers are unsure if she should have stepped away from the spotlight and led a quiet, private life instead. She left fame before it consumed her and made room in her life for peace. Some question whether she needed to vanish in order to be heard. She ultimately chose her life above the mayhem, leaving us with scenes in barns and on Alaskan roads without a televised farewell. Legacy amid the quiet. There may have been both thrilling and serene parts to Lisa Kelly's narrative. Her tale is more significant than ice road truckers, even though she isn't as well known now. She turned into a symbol of survival in a harsh world and a lighthouse of tenacity and defiance. She has experienced everything from navigating through Himalayan chutes to transporting 100-foot pipes. A generation of trucking women have been inspired by her narrative. Her legacy, however, transcends the statistics. Her persona gave her audience fresh vigor and a sense of connection. She was more than just a truck driver, she was a soul who had confronted giants, a symbol, and a traveling sister. The tweet those words echoed among her fans was posted by one of her fans. It wasn't just clubs, truck stops, forums, and trade shows that people learned about Kelly. She is remembered as a sister protecting the roadway, transforming difficult terrain into a testing field, and she is more than just horsepower and rigged steel. Women who dared to follow in her footsteps felt proud and validated by her presence. She always felt more confident after hearing the phrase, "You don't beat the ice, you learn to live with it." She clarified that the hard realities she has learned to accept are symbolized by the ice roads. She claimed that she was put to the test both emotionally and physically, and that she overcame it by adjusting, tolerating, and comprehending it rather than by overcoming it. Her words were, "Dotted out for us." Since she hasn't spoken for years, many people are unaware of her ambitions for the future of the industry, but some believe she deserves to be left alone. She has the right and deserves to quit if she did so before the grind ruined her. However, several questioned whether she had lost more to fame or ice than they had ever witnessed. Therefore, without her driving, the Alaskan road feels empty, even though the trucks and engines continue to buzz and the horses graze it. Because it was more than simply headlights fading into dusk when Lisa Kelly departed.